Are you a new trophy hunter looking for some must-have platinum trophies? Or are you a seasoned hunter looking for some incredible games to add to your collection? As I approach my 300th platinum trophy, I wanted to reflect on those that I've earned so far, and I developed this list of my favorite platinums that I think every trophy hunter should consider going for. So this is a list of must-have platinum trophies based on my personal experience as an almost 17-year trophy hunter. This list will contain a mix of old games and new games, and I've tried to limit it to one game per series. As always, let me know your picks in the comments. What games am I missing on this list? Let me know down below. Right off the bat, we're starting with one of the most critically acclaimed video games ever made from any console generation, and that's BioShock. I first played this game in 2011, but didn't earn the platinum until 2019, and then I went and did it again on the PS4 remastered version. BioShock is a game that bleeds atmosphere. It's unsettling, eerie, and even frightening at times. Right off the bat, from the opening sequence, you get an intense feeling of unease and at the same time, wonder. The underwater world of Rapture, with its dystopian 1960s aesthetic, is fascinating, and you'll want to explore every nook and cranny if it weren't for the terrors you knew might be lurking around the next corner. There are times when this feels like a horror game, and other times when it feels like a normal first-person action shooter. BioShock gives you access to a small selection of typical projectile weapons, like pistols, shotguns, machine guns, and grenade launchers, as well as a handful of plasmid and tonic abilities. Tonics and plasmids are, for lack of a better term, superpowers in a vial. Once injected, tonics give you passive abilities that improve your stats and abilities, and plasmids can give you new abilities like being able to turn invisible, shooting fire from your hands, moving objects with your mind, and even taking control of powerful enemy combatants to fight on your behalf. Weapons and plasmids can be upgraded, and by the end of your playthrough, you'll be a force of nature that will rival the cast of an X-Men film. BioShock gives you the freedom to create some very powerful builds depending on how you allocate your upgrades, plasmids, and tonics. The starter weapon, a simple wrench, can even carry you through the game with the right tonics. Alternatively, you can put points into hacking and stealth, and rely on your ingenuity and cunning to defeat or even bypass enemies. BioShock is a very linear game. There aren't any side quests, and there's not a lot of open-ended exploration. The story and gameplay are the main draws, and both are done exceptionally well. The Platinum Trophy will require you to grab some collectibles and a few missable trophies, and since there is no free roam after the story ends, you'll want to check out a guide to make sure you've got everything. There is a trophy for beating the game on the hardest difficulty without using Vita chambers, which are basically checkpoints. This sounds daunting, but manual saving lets you save at any time, including before, during, or after a combat encounter. This makes the trophy a lot more manageable, and it's the reason this platinum is only sitting at a 4 out of 10 for difficulty. BioShock is undoubtedly one of the best video games ever created, and I feel absolutely no reservations in saying that. It has an incredible story, a surprising twist, and an unmatched atmosphere. This is a must-play game for any video game fan, and the Platinum Trophy is perfect for trophy hunters because it's an overall incredible game with a trophy list that is not unreasonably difficult or grindy. Before we get into game number 2, would you kindly leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you end up enjoying this video, or if you enjoy trophy hunting related content. I make videos on video game completionism with a focus on platinum trophies, specifically hard ones. So if challenging platinum trophies is something you're interested in, I have a series of videos where I'm working through 40 challenging platinum trophies, and you can find some of those videos here. Now, getting back to the list, I'm going to cheat a little bit with this one by putting 2 games, Astro's Playroom and Astrobot. This is partly because I haven't played Astrobot yet. I know I'm not proud of it, but you can't go wrong with either one of these games. These are exceptional 3D platformers that smother PlayStation fans with a multitude of iconic PlayStation characters and references. Both games run beautifully on the PS5, and while they're more light-hearted and casual in nature, they're appropriate for all ages so anybody can enjoy them. Astrobot won Game of the Year in 2024 as a PlayStation exclusive, which pissed off a lot of Xbox fans, but it really shows just how good this game was. Both games have a very straightforward platinum trophy. Astro's Playroom is a very quick and easy platinum at just a 2 out of 10 difficulty and taking only 5 hours. Astrobot's a little bit more involved at about 15 hours, but it's also a much bigger game. I desperately need to play Astrobot. I'm ashamed that I haven't already, but Astro's Playroom is also great. Both of these games are perfect for longtime PlayStation fans who want to relive the nostalgia of previous console generations and snag an easy platinum in the process. Up next is a game that I technically don't have the Platinum Trophy for, and that's Uncharted 2, specifically the remastered version. I do have this Platinum on PS3, which I earned in 2016, but unfortunately it's no longer possible because of the few online trophies. The first Uncharted game is the only mainline Uncharted game without any online trophies, so it's actually the only game in the original trilogy that you can still earn the Platinum Trophy in. It's also the first game to ever get a Platinum Trophy, which makes it iconic in its own right. I think all of the Uncharted games are fantastic, honestly. I could have picked any Uncharted game and made a good justification for it to be on this list, but Uncharted 2 is often considered the pinnacle of the series, so that's why it made the list. PlayStation fans that grew up with Lara Croft and the Tomb Raider games were pleasantly surprised when the Uncharted series came along and replicated that feeling of searching for treasure in ancient ruins and occasionally whipping out pistols and kicking some ass. Uncharted was one of the earliest AAA titles to show off the power of the PS3, and Uncharted 2 took that to the next level with some crazy set pieces and cinematics. The cinematography was on another level. The transitions between cutscenes and gameplay started to feel more seamless, and for me this was around the time where video games started to feel more akin to movies or real life, rather than a bunch of big blocky pixels on a screen. The story is captivating and the gunplay and brawling are tight and responsive. The main story takes 8 to 12 hours to complete, which is in my opinion perfect for a linear action shooter. The Platinum Trophy, at least for the remastered version, is very straightforward and won't give trophy hunters much trouble at all. Complete the game on the hardest difficulty, find 100 treasures, complete some miscellaneous tasks, and you can get the Platinum on Uncharted 2 Remastered in about 15 hours. It has been a long time since I played this one, but I can't think of a single bad thing to say about Uncharted 2. If you haven't experienced the series before, you owe it to yourself to play these generationally great games. Now you know I had to include 2018's Marvel Spider-Man from Insomniac Games because it's the most popular Platinum Trophy of all time, and by quite a wide margin. At the time of this recording, over 450,000 people have earned this Platinum Trophy on just the PS4 version alone. Frankly, the game is incredible, and it's even better if you're a Spider-Man or Marvel Comics fan. The villains in this game are well acted, and the boss fights are exciting, refreshing, and cinematic. The game looks absolutely magnificent. I was blown away by the graphical fidelity of this game when I originally played it, and I hope my recording here at least does it a little bit of justice. Traversal in this game is incredibly fun and quick. I spent more time than I care to admit just swinging around Manhattan without any end goals in mind. Marvel's Spider-Man also has a very easy Platinum Trophy, which makes it the perfect combination for trophy hunters. The trophy list essentially requires you to complete everything on the map, including all quests, side activities, challenges, and collectibles, but this is pretty easy since it's not a massive game. A lot of the trophy lists will likely be completed simply by playing through the game normally and just enjoying it, with no missable trophies, no online trophies, and nothing that's incredibly difficult or grindy. It's easy to see why an incredible game like this is so popular for trophy hunters, and why this game gets so many people into trophy hunting in the first place. This game was also remastered for PS5 in 2020, which means you can now play it with near instant load times, DualSense haptic feedback, and better performance. Next we have probably the first challenging game on the list, and that's Bloodborne. I think every PlayStation fan by now has either played Bloodborne or is at least aware of the legend and popularity behind it. This Platinum Trophy has a pretty high rarity for how challenging this game is, at over 22%. Bloodborne isn't the hardest From Software game, but it's still a From Software game. It's gonna kick your ass over and over, but it's so good. The Victorian Gothic style world, the twisted, mutilated boss enemies, the horrifying sound of shrieking monsters and crying babies in the distance. Bloodborne just does so many things well. Unlike a lot of From Software games, Bloodborne's combat and gameplay is much more simple. All you have is a melee weapon and a gun, and the gun is primarily for parrying. There's no magic, and the differences between armor sets are more cosmetic than practical, so you can spend more time worrying about drip than stat boosts. Bloodborne is currently the 7th most popular Platinum Trophy of all time. Like all From Software games, there are some missable trophies and you'll have to do multiple playthroughs, and in true FromSoft form, some of the trophy requirements are just incredibly obscure, so you're unlikely to stumble upon this Platinum by accident. This isn't a quick or easy Platinum. It will take a concerted effort, and the fact that almost 250,000 players still enjoyed this game enough to earn its Platinum Trophy is a testament to just how beloved this game is. Players have been clamoring for a remaster of Bloodborne for a decade now, and while that seems less and less likely as the years go on, there's still a tremendous amount of love for this game. In 2026, Bloodborne does show some of its age. It's not the most graphically polished or smooth game, and load times are kind of annoying, but it is nonetheless a masterpiece and a very popular game for trophy hunters. Sticking with From Software, Elden Ring is another masterpiece. I honestly don't give Elden Ring enough credit when I think about my favorite games of all time. It's absolutely incredible. Elden Ring blew me away when I played it at launch. It's a game that you can play over and over and over again with literally hundreds, if not thousands of hours of content. It's massive. And it's not just big and empty and boring like a lot of games that try to do the massive open world formula. From Software did it the right way. The base game has somewhere around 165 bosses, but only 13 of those are mandatory main quest bosses. So there is a lot of optional content in this game. In addition to bosses, Elden Ring has dozens of dungeons, caves, and other points of interest to discover. I have never played any other game in my life where, years after release, dedicated players are still finding tons of secrets and incredible armor or weapon pieces that open up new gameplay styles. Elden Ring is so massive and so deep that it seems there will always be things to discover in this game. In terms of the Platinum Trophy, this might be the hardest game on the list, but with an almost 38% rarity, it's still more common than Bloodborne and many other games on the list. Elden Ring has some of the most challenging boss fights in any From Software game, but like a lot of their other games, you can summon a friend or friendly NPCs in some cases to help you out. You'll definitely need to rely on a trophy guide for this one, both for the missable trophies and just for general guidance on where the hell to go. I got lost so many times playing this game, but that's actually part of its appeal. Getting lost in this game is actually enjoyable. It made me think of Skyrim, the way a small detour can lead you to hours of exciting exploration. You'll have to make some backup saves if you want to get all the endings without multiple playthroughs, or you can play through the game multiple times. It's that damn good, honestly. Elden Ring is a once-in-a-generation game, and if you can stick with it long enough to get past the difficulty spikes in the beginning of the game, the Platinum Trophy should definitely be doable with some persistence and patience. Next on the list we have God of War 2018. God of War 2018 is a fantastic reboot of the classic PlayStation franchise. I played the original God of War games on PS2, and even at age 14 I could tell how impactful this IP would be to PlayStation. 13 years after the groundbreaking original, Santa Monica Studios comes out with this new God of War game set in an entirely different mythos with tons of new gameplay elements, polished visuals, and a new voice actor for Kratos that actually felt perfect from the first time you hear him speak. This game ran flawlessly for me. I don't think I ran into a single bug or hiccup. The third-person, over-the-shoulder view is, in my opinion, 1,000 times better than the cinematic camera of the old entries when it comes to the hack-and-slash style combat. I love the originals. I never complained at all about the combat of the originals or the camera system. I loved it all. But God of War 2018's combat is much more complex and rewarding than the originals. In the originals, you were just mashing the fuck out of the square and triangle buttons in every room, maybe pulling off some powerful combos, and then moving on to the next room. Most fights didn't take that much thought or alteration of strategy. God of War 2018 actually requires you to be a little more thoughtful on your approach, while also giving you more options. This game is also done in one continuous shot, which means that there are no loading screens. Yes, I know they technically hide loads behind cinematics and other bits where you're not doing much, but it really helps with the immersion when you don't have to look at a black screen for 30 seconds every time you go do something new. God of War 2018 is the third most popular Platinum Trophy of all time, and it's easy to see why. The trophy list is very straightforward for an action-adventure game. Do the main story, complete all the side quests, grab some collectibles, pretty standard stuff. There are no online trophies, no missables, and there's nothing really too difficult. In my opinion, God of War Ragnarok is just as good as God of War 2018, but I know a lot of people would disagree. Nevertheless, God of War 2018 seems to be loved by just about everybody who's played it, and it's a must-have platinum for anybody who owns a PS4 or PS5. Up next we have another absolutely phenomenal game, and it's Ghost of Tsushima. As much as I have clamored and begged the universe over the years to give us another Infamous game, I am so glad that Sucker Punch put the time and love into this game that they clearly did. This game looks absolutely amazing from both a graphical fidelity perspective, as well as the simple but beautiful environments you'll traverse through. It's incredible how Sucker Punch took a very simple, basic setting, 1200s feudal Japan, mostly flat grassland areas, and made it pop visually. The bright coloring of flowers and tree leaves as you ride through an area carried by the direction of the wind makes traversal in this game a relaxing and awe-inspiring experience. Ghost of Tsushima is another open-world action game where you're trying to repel an invasion of Mongolian forces led by the grandson of Genghis Khan. The game is built around sword combat. You can go the honorable route and duel enemies in face-to-face sword fights, or you can use stealth, sneak up behind them, and stab them through the heart. The game lets you approach encounters in multiple different ways depending on your preferences. You can climb up to a high vantage point to gain an awareness advantage, or you can get up close and personal and rely on various gadgets to distract or disorient enemies. With extremely fast load times, Ghost of Tsushima is one of the smoothest running games I've ever played. Sucker Punch released a director's cut in 2021, bringing the game to PS5 with even better graphics and load times. I loved every second of my time with this game, and I actually didn't mind doing a New Game Plus playthrough. The trophy list is also very straightforward. In fact, I was able to get all of the trophies except for one without looking at any guides whatsoever. This Platinum Trophy will take about 40 to 50 hours, but it never feels stale. It's an easy game and easy Platinum, but there are higher difficulty settings if you really want to test yourself. When I did my New Game Plus run, I actually did it on the hardest difficulty, and it was actually a legitimate challenge. So if you want something more than just a casual, narrative-driven experience, you have some options. Either way, this is a must-have Platinum for anybody who enjoys cinematic, story-driven games, and the gameplay is, frankly, also peak. At number 9, we have Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Now, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart really opened my eyes to what the console was capable of. This game looks like a AAA animated movie, even during the gameplay sections. Everything is crisp and smooth. Load times are virtually non-existent. Set in a fantasy cartoonish universe, the Ratchet & Clank games are tailored to a younger audience but are still great fun for all ages. This is actually the only Ratchet & Clank game I've ever played, but there's no doubt that it's one of the most famous IPs PlayStation ever put out, and this was a phenomenal experience for my first Ratchet & Clank game. These are third-person action-adventure games, which is a growing trend on this list that kind of points to my personal gameplay preferences. You get an arsenal of over-the-top sci-fi weapons and gadgets, and you'll come across a melting pot of diverse NPCs and enemies of various alien races. As a lover of sci-fi, dashing through interdimensional portals and firing guns that shoot electricity was right up my alley. The game is highly polished, fun, and has a very easy trophy list. You can earn this Platinum in about 10 hours or so. With no difficulty or online trophies, and just one easy-to-get missable trophy, this Platinum can be earned by players of all ages, which also makes it a perfect one for this list. At number 10, we have Horizon Zero Dawn. Now, I've been a fan of Guerrilla Games since the Killzone 2 days, and Horizon Zero Dawn is probably the best game I've played from them. I haven't played Forbidden West yet, but Zero Dawn was an incredibly worthwhile experience. The sci-fi post-apocalyptic setting still looks beautiful as opposed to being some barren gray or brown deserted wasteland. Throughout the game, you'll be tasked with taking down giant animated machines. That's really what this game is. You're fighting giant robots. Many of these machines resemble animals, or more precisely dinosaurs, from small deer-like creatures that will get alarmed by your presence and run away, to massive behemoths that will seek to crush you. Eventually, you can even hack some of these machines and they'll fight for you. As you take out machines and explore the world, you'll uncover what happened to lead Earth to its current post-apocalyptic state. Horizon Zero Dawn gives you a simple set of weapons, consisting of spears for melee and a handful of projectile weapons for ranged attacks. Ranged weapons fire projectiles that deal different types of elemental damage, which you'll have to match up with an enemy's specific weaknesses. It also contains many of the common open-world mechanics such as gear crafting and modification, clearing out camps, completing challenges, and a leveling up system where you apply skill points to unlock abilities. There are some light stealth mechanics, and Aloy, the main protagonist, can also set traps or utilize existing traps to take down enemies. The fights can get intense, especially if you go in under-leveled or under-equipped. The trophy list has no missable trophies or online trophies, and like many of the games on this list, it really just requires you to complete everything in the game, which is all quite easy and straightforward. It seemed like every game in the late 2010s was going for the biggest, most expansive world possible, which started to turn some players off, but I had a ton of fun with this one, and I'm still really excited to finally play Forbidden West. Alright, we're going way back with this one. Must-have Platinum number 11 is Assassin's Creed 2. This was the first Assassin's Creed game I ever played, and it was my 4th ever platinum in 2011, and I loved every second of it. This game was ported to the PS4 as part of the Ezio collection back in 2016, but it's not a full remaster, so no matter how you play this one, it's probably going to show some age. You play as the legendary assassin, Ezio. As the name suggests, much of what you're doing in Assassin's Creed games is killing high-value targets, often using one or more stealth options. The games are all loosely based on historical events, usually with an alternate history twist. You end up meeting real historical figures like Leonardo da Vinci and Pope Alexander VI, and you'll participate in real historical events like the Italian Renaissance and the American Revolution. In this universe, assassins play a key role in shaping the outcome of world events. Conspiracy, betrayal, treason, and even a little bit of the supernatural makes the storyline in Assassin's Creed engaging and exciting. Assassin's Creed 2 is also one of the easiest and quickest platinums you can earn in the entire series. Part of this is due to the fact that there are no online trophies, and the in-game world is not insanely massive like some of the newer Assassin's Creed games. You'll have to collect 100 feathers, which will take some time, but it's not nearly as grindy as, say, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. If you're looking for a fun entry point into the series, Assassin's Creed 2 is a great game with an easy platinum trophy, and the Ezio collection gives you a way to play it without having to dig out your old, dusty PS3. Up next at number 12, we have The Elder Scrolls V: Skyrim. What can I really say about Skyrim that hasn't already been said a million times? This was the first Elder Scrolls game I ever played. In fact, Skyrim was one of the first big RPGs I ever played, even though I was already 20 years old when it came out. I heard some guys at work talking about it, so I bought it like 2 weeks after it came out, and I immediately got sucked into it. At the time, I was working second shift until like 11:30 at night, and every night after work I would go home and play Skyrim until 3, 4, 5 in the morning. And I did that for like a month straight. All I wanted to do every day was play Skyrim. I didn't care about any other games, I didn't care about any of my other personal responsibilities. I'd have to drag myself to work for 8 hours a day. But the whole time, all I could think about was getting home and playing more Skyrim. Never before had I gotten so lost in a game in such a good way. I even bought a big, thick strategy guide for this game, and I was actually using it while exploring the game, checking things off as I found them. Skyrim is an open-world fantasy RPG where you have virtually unlimited freedom. After the first few minutes, you can basically do whatever and go wherever you want. The game gives you a level of freedom that no other game has been able to replicate for me, except maybe Elden Ring, and it rewards you for the exploration. You go into a cave on the way to a quest, and you might find a unique spell that lets you see in the dark, or it might show you the way towards your objective. There are so many awesome secrets, locations, and quests in Skyrim that you'd never come across if you only focused on the main story. The game gives you a ton of options for build variety. Whether you want to be a stealth archer, which, let's be honest, is like 80% of Skyrim players, or a necromancer who summons allies to do your bidding for you. There are tons of weapons, armor, enchantments, potions, and skills that can make you more powerful in those specific skill lines. Skyrim also lets you take it easy, with homes that you can purchase and decorate, NPCs you can recruit and even marry, and even children you can adopt. Now, I will be the first to admit that the original launch version of Skyrim on PS3 is tough to play. I wouldn't be surprised if Skyrim is one of the buggiest games of all time. In fact, the bugs have kind of become part of its charm at this point. Thankfully, most of these bugs are pretty minor, but the worst part of it is the performance issues you're going to experience once your save file grows too large. The game will start to move literally at a snail's pace. I went back to clean up the DLC trophies on the PS3 version years ago, and my save file was so bloated that my character would only take one step like every 30 seconds. It became literally unplayable. For better or worse, Skyrim has been re-released a million times now, and I truly believe the Anniversary Edition on modern consoles is the best way to play this game. It's still got some bugs, it is Skyrim after all, but most of the major performance issues have been fixed. The Anniversary Edition also added a ton of additional content. I almost never defend games that get these constant re-releases. I think it's lazy, but Skyrim, for better or worse, is always going to have this hold on me. It's one of my all-time favorite gaming experiences, and I think I can safely put Skyrim in my top 10 games of all time, possibly top 5. To illustrate just how much I love this game, I have earned this Platinum Trophy and 100% of the DLC 4 times, and damn it, if they release it again on the PlayStation 6, I'm gonna buy it again. Skyrim certainly isn't a quick platinum. It might be the longest platinum on this list. It's probably gonna take about 100 hours or so and require the use of a guide, but it's such a fantastic game. The Platinum Trophy forces you to go well beyond the main storyline, which in a linear game probably sounds horrible and grindy, but in Skyrim, a game that's massive with so much stuff to do, I personally really appreciate that the trophy guide forces you to experience some of those different things in the game. From joining different guilds, taking on unique side quests, exploring fascinating caves and ruins, Skyrim is a game that's fun to just get lost in. I never wanted this game to end, and even after getting the 100% 4 times, I'm still not bored of it. Next up, we have arguably the best superhero video game ever made, Batman Arkham City. This is another game that has received the remaster treatment, which for me was a much welcome opportunity to replay Arkham Asylum and Arkham City on modern consoles. All 3 of the Arkham games? No, all 4 of the Arkham games are great. I will stand up for Arkham Origins until the day I die, but even I have to admit that Arkham City is probably the best overall game of the bunch. Being a Batman fan certainly helps, but these are great games even if you're not all that into comics. Batman Arkham Asylum single-handedly changed how third-person brawling was done in a lot of popular games. Mad Max, Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor, and Spider-Man 2018 are just 3 somewhat recent examples of games that clearly took inspiration from the combat in the Arkham games, and all 3 of those games are praised for their combat among other things. Strangely enough, the combat in Arkham Asylum was originally pitched as a rhythm mechanic, and eventually evolved into this iconic free-flow combat system that we now have. It's somehow incredibly simple and yet still satisfying and fun. You have 1 button to punch, 1 button to counter, and you just need to worry about the timing. Of course, you have other buttons that you can use for gadgets to add variation and style. Gotham City is a dark, depressing cesspool, and you spend the entire game punching and kicking it back into civility. In addition to great combat, the Arkham games also have top-tier stealth mechanics, giving you a wide range of options for distracting or sneaking up on henchmen. It's an overused cliche at this point, but the Arkham games really make you feel like Batman. You'll also need to use Batman's most notable talent, being the world's greatest detective, to discover evidence, explore leads, solve crimes, and foil plots. Legendary voice actors Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill bring life to the iconic characters of Batman and the Joker. Arkham City and the rest of the series are riddled with side quests and Easter eggs referencing other infamous Batman characters and events. Rocksteady did a tremendous job creating a game that was engaging not just for gamers, but also for fans of the Batman universe. The trophy list for Arkham City is admittedly quite involved. It's probably the hardest and most time-consuming game in the original trilogy to platinum, but thankfully there are no online trophies and there's just 1 quick, easy, missable trophy. You'll have to collect all 400 Riddler trophies, which, I get it, it's a lot of collectibles. I completely understand someone not wanting to collect all of these, but the vast majority of them are quick and easy to grab, and navigation around Gotham City is quick and fun. It's also not some massive open world. Everything is relatively tight and compact. The combat and predator challenges will also take some practice, as some of those can be pretty challenging, but you can look up effective strategies for most of them. While this platinum will take some time and dedication, it is a must-have platinum for Batman fans and for trophy hunters. At number 14, I have Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 Campaign Remastered. Now hear me out on this one. There's no doubt that Call of Duty has seen better than what the fans have been given in recent years, and I always think back to my personal favorite game in the series, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 2 on PS3 was my 10th Platinum Trophy, which I earned back in 2011. It came out during my freshman year of college, and my god, I skipped so many classes to play this instead. I was absolutely obsessed with this game's multiplayer for a good year or so. The campaign for Modern Warfare 2 was also gripping and iconic. From the No Russian mission to the unexpected betrayal plot twist, Modern Warfare 2 also introduced the Spec Ops mode. Spec Ops was a new mode that merged the objective-based mission style of the main campaign with the ability to play with a friend. And of course, everybody in the late 2000s was playing Modern Warfare 2 online. Iconic maps, kill streaks, no-scope trick shots. This was the pinnacle of online multiplayer experiences, and to me, it's only been matched by a few games since then. Modern Warfare 2 was an all-around monumental game, and it still sits near the top of the list of greatest Call of Duty games ever made, in my opinion. Now, while it is technically still possible to earn the platinum on the original Modern Warfare 2 from 2009, it's now over 16 years old and the game is riddled with hackers, so the online multiplayer is basically cooked. I remember trying to play it many years ago for fun, and every lobby I entered was just riddled with hackers. People floating in the air, getting killed instantly upon spawning. So this is why I recommend the remastered campaign that came out in 2020. It's only the campaign, which means it's missing my favorite part of the game, the online multiplayer. But the campaign is absolutely worth a playthrough if you've never played the original. The remaster removes all online trophies and you can easily get the platinum in under 30 hours without much trouble. The remaster does not include the Spec Ops mode, which is a bit unfortunate because it's pretty fun actually, especially with a friend. It can technically still be completed on the 2009 version, either with 2 controllers or if you can find a dedicated partner. So if you're willing to put up with some PS3 era game performance, you can still relive the glory of the original and earn its platinum trophy. The next must-have platinum trophy on the list is another classic PS3 title, Heavy Rain. This was my 14th platinum trophy, which I earned in 2011, and there aren't many games out there like this one. Like many of the games on this list, Heavy Rain was also brought to PS4 in 2016, which is where all the footage for this video was taken since I no longer have a PS3 copy. Heavy Rain was developed by Quantic Dream, the studio behind Detroit Become Human, Beyond Two Souls, and Indigo Prophecy back on PS2 if you remember that one. They have a penchant for making narrative-focused games where your choices actually matter, and they matter big. One decision you make early in the game can have a ripple effect and lead to different dialogue options, cutscenes, or even completely different endings. In Heavy Rain, you'll rotate between a few different playable characters, and each chapter has you searching for clues, interviewing NPCs, and connecting the dots to find the main character's missing son. If you find enough clues and ask the right questions, you can solve the mystery and obtain the perfect ending. This game admittedly isn't for everybody. The controls take some getting used to, there's a ton of quick time events and parts where you have to shake your controller. This game honestly feels like a tech demo for the PS3 6-axis controller in a lot of ways. There were quite a few early PS3 titles that attempted to incorporate this feature into their gameplay, but Heavy Rain really committed to it. There's not a whole lot more to say about Heavy Rain without spoiling any major plot points. The gameplay is very basic. Again, most of the game revolves around finding clues and making choices. Heavy Rain has 17 different quote-unquote endings, which can be unlocked based on the choices you make and the clues you discover. So much of your time with the platinum just involves finding all the endings. Thankfully, you don't actually have to play the game 17 full times. It will require a few partial playthroughs, but you can earn more than one ending at a time in some cases. If you like branching narratives or games where your choices actually matter, this is one of the best and early examples I can think of on PlayStation, and earning the Platinum Trophy will allow you to experience everything the game has to offer. For our next must-have Platinum Trophy, we have one of the best GTA clones that ever saw the light of day, Sleeping Dogs. Originally released in 2012 on PS3 and then remastered to PS4 in 2014, Sleeping Dogs is an action-adventure game set in Hong Kong. You play an undercover police officer trying to infiltrate the criminal underground, and you kind of live this double life where half the game you're acting as a cop, half the game you're acting as a high-ranking thug in a criminal triad organization. Combat in Sleeping Dogs is very reminiscent of Batman Arkham Asylum, which we also talked about on this list. It's heavily geared towards melee combat, although guns will appear more frequently later on in the story. There are tons of interactable environmental hazards that can be used to add variation to combat. Beating down a group of 20 triads with your fists will have you feeling just as badass as the Caped Crusader himself. The story in Sleeping Dogs isn't anything that's going to blow you away, but it's serviceable. Like a lot of open world games, the Platinum Trophy will require you to explore various extracurricular activities, from cockfighting, street races, side quests, and of course some collectibles. No missable or online trophies means that both versions will forever be obtainable, and the Platinum Trophy is straightforward, easy, and incredibly fun. This is a game that definitely deserved a sequel in my opinion. Next at number 17 we have Far Cry 3.
Did I ever tell you the definition of insanity?
This was my first Far Cry experience, and surprise, surprise, it was fantastic. There was a time when Ubisoft made open world games that weren't overly bloated, didn't feel like a chore to navigate, and were fun to explore. Far Cry 3 is one of those games. In Far Cry 3, you play as an American tourist who's on vacation with friends in Southeast Asia. Paradise quickly devolves into purgatory when you and your friends are kidnapped by native pirates led by certified madman Vas Montenegro. Iconic villain actor Michael Mando gives the performance of a lifetime and cements Vas as one of the most terrifying and memorable video game villains of all time. Throughout the game, you'll complete quests, take down pirate camps, and discover secrets on the island as you try to free your friends from the pirates. Far Cry games have a dynamic AI system where NPC AIs, human and otherwise, will actually interact with one another without your involvement. Wild animals can actually be baited towards enemy camps where they'll aggressively attack enemies on your behalf. It's a unique and ingenious mechanic that really makes the world of Far Cry 3 feel alive as opposed to just digital assets occupying a screen. Far Cry 3 gives you access to a surprisingly large arsenal of weapons and vehicles, from LMGs to rocket launchers, dune buggies, and even wingsuits. The skill tree allows the player to level up and prioritize different gameplay strategies. Hunting and crafting also plays a big role in expanding your capabilities as a survivor and as a warrior, especially early on. The Platinum Trophy for Far Cry 3 is very manageable. The original PS3 version is still completely attainable if you manage to complete the co-op trophies locally. Otherwise, the 2018 remastered version, Far Cry 3 Classic Edition, is also a great choice if you don't want to bother with the co-op stuff. Collectible locations can be revealed by buying maps within the game, which means that most or all of this trophy list could be completed without even using a guide. Far Cry 3 is undoubtedly one of the best titles Ubisoft ever released, and it's a must-play for open-world action fans and for trophy hunters. Up next, we have what very well could be my favorite video game of all time, Mass Effect 2. This is a bit of a personal choice for me because I just love this game and series so much. The Mass Effect trilogy may also be my favorite game trilogy of all time. I even think Mass Effect 3 is highly underrated, but 2 will always hold a special place in my heart. Mass Effect has one of the most gripping and engaging stories of any series I've ever played. You play as Commander Shepard, leader of the SSV Normandy. Set in the 22nd century, humans learn they're not alone in the universe. Upon discovering alien artifacts on Mars, humans figure out how to leverage the technology to develop faster-than-light travel and start to explore the cosmos. Not long after, they discover a wide range of different alien races, some benign, some malignant, and the Mass Effect series has you fighting against and working with different alien races for the fate of the galaxy. The Mass Effect games are incredible for so many different reasons. For starters, BioWare, at least at one point, really knew how to make a phenomenal RPG. Branching narratives, consequential choices and actions, and a player class system that forces you to commit to one of 6 different styles of combat. Mass Effect is a sci-fi series rooted in physical reality, so while there is no magic, there are a lot of futuristic weapons and abilities. The squad-based combat of the series is incredibly fun. After recruiting somebody, you can take them into battle with you. Different squad mates have different strengths and weaknesses. Biotic characters have the ability to manipulate space and time, which offers some really cool and powerful abilities. You can even combo abilities between yourself and your allies to create powerful additive effects. You also get to explore different planets and moons, learn about the history of ancient alien races, and ultimately engage in a battle for the fate of humanity. It has everything a sci-fi loving gamer like myself could ask for. I got the Platinum Trophy for Mass Effect 2 on PS3 back in 2012, and the remastered version very shortly after it came out in 2021. As for the trophy list, it's certainly not a quick or super easy platinum, but the game is so good that I'd happily do it a third time. Mass Effect 2 is a game that builds up to an ultimate narrative climax at the end of the story. There's a handful of missable trophies, and since there is no free roam afterwards, you'll have to get everything buttoned up before the final battle. There is a trophy for beating the game on the hardest difficulty, which I admit even I struggled with from time to time, but there are some really strong builds and squad mates that you can use to make it a little easier. Mass Effect 2 is no doubt one of the best video games ever made on any console, and the fun and enjoyment most players will have going for the platinum should greatly outweigh any minor struggles you might have with the trophy list. Next up, we have the first game I bought when I got my PS4, Infamous Second Son. This game still looks amazing for having come out all the way back in early 2014. Whereas new console generations nowadays seem to be providing a smaller and smaller marginal improvement to performance and graphics, Infamous Second Son felt like a massive jump from the PS3. The lighting in this game, wow. Infamous Second Son takes place a few years after Infamous 2, where you play as a conduit named Delsin. Conduits are human beings that can manipulate the physical environment around them. The story of Infamous Second Son didn't captivate me the way the first two did, but it made up for any shortcomings in the narrative department with improved performance and visual fidelity, new abilities, destructible environments, and an overall very fun and enjoyable game. You can manipulate energy and matter like electricity, smoke, and even the earth below you to create devastating effects. In addition to their place in combat, these abilities can also be used to quickly navigate through the city. The karma system provides you with two potential paths for story development and for unlocking abilities. Playing evil will give you access to new abilities that are much more destructive, with little regard for innocent human life. While quite fun, this could force you down an evil karma ending. But don't worry, you'll have to explore both paths for the Platinum Trophy anyway. Like many open world games, you'll explore the city, clear out hostile groups of enemies, complete side objectives, and track down some collectibles. 289 blast shard collectibles sounds like a lot, but these show up on the map eventually and are all pretty easy to track down. And they help you level up, so there's actually an in-game incentive to collecting them. The only missable trophies are those that relate to the two possible karma routes, but these are easy to get if you're using a trophy guide. Infamous Second Son is a must-play title from the early days of the PS4, and I sit here hoping, praying that Sucker Punch can eventually find the time and resources needed to create the next iteration in the series. In a time where seemingly every major IP is getting either a remake or a remaster, I think I speak for all PlayStation fans when I express my disappointment at the neglect Infamous has experienced since Second Son. Whether it's a new game or a revisiting of the original trilogy, I hope more people get exposed to this series so that maybe someday we can generate enough pressure to get our next Conduit adventure. And last but certainly not least, we have the first and only Rockstar game on the list, Red Dead Redemption. I'm currently playing through this again on the remastered PS4 version, and it's bringing me back to 2011 when I was absolutely obsessed with this game. This was my 5th ever Platinum Trophy, and it only took me about 5 weeks to finish it the first time because I was just so hooked on it. I always bounce back and forth in my head between Red Dead 1 and 2 in terms of which is my favorite, and it's always an internal struggle. I think Red Dead 2 is a masterpiece, and I think it is a superior game in so many ways, but it's also a very grueling Platinum Trophy. The gold medals, animal compendium, the 100% grind, and everything else that the Platinum requires is just too much for me to recommend for a list like this. Thankfully, Red Dead 1 is a phenomenal game in its own right with a much more manageable Platinum Trophy. Red Dead Redemption takes place in the early 1900s at the end of the Wild West era. You play as John Marston, a cowboy/outlaw who is part of a dying breed on the American frontier. As America starts to become civilized, its tolerance for lawlessness starts to dissipate. The Bureau of Investigation, an agency that would eventually evolve into the FBI, has tasked you with tracking down some of your old gang members and killing them in exchange for the safety of your wife and son. The story structure follows a similar path to other Rockstar games. There's an overall storyline that progresses as you complete the main story, and then there's also tons of side quests that provide greater context and life to the game world. The game's story definitely hits different after having played Red Dead 2 due to just how connected those two games are. It would be a disservice to describe this game as simply a Wild West Grand Theft Auto, because it's so much more than that. But the structure of the game and level of detail is very much in line with what you expect from a Rockstar game, and each of their games are chock full of side activities. Hunting is a huge part of Red Dead Redemption. Not only are there hunting challenges to complete, but I regularly found myself spending hours in tall trees hunting grizzly bears and then strolling into town to sell the pelts. Other activities include poker, horseshoes, dueling, and side jobs like bounty hunting. There's enough content in this game to keep you busy for dozens of hours, and while much of the open world is barren and empty, the sound of clopping horseshoes on a dirt road as you gaze into the clear night sky with coyotes howling in the background makes you yearn for a long-lost era. I don't think it's a stretch to say that these are the best Western-themed games ever made. I'm a city boy, I don't really care about cowboys, but goddamn, I absolutely love these games. The Platinum Trophy will require you to complete the game to 100%, so a guide is probably going to be necessary. It seems daunting, but it's nowhere near as rough as the sequel. The remastered version gets rid of the online trophies and also takes some of the DLC trophies from the original and ties them into the Platinum Trophy. But The silver lining is that Red Dead 1 has one of the best single-player DLCs I've ever played in Undead Nightmare. Just like some of the other old titles on this list, the original version on PS3 is getting up there in age. Trying to complete the Platinum Trophy on the original may expose you to hackers or have you struggling to find players, in which case I recommend the PS4 or PS5 remastered version. So that's my list of 20 must-have Platinum trophies. I think these are all incredible games, and whether you're a new trophy hunter or a seasoned vet, these are all quite manageable. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and consider subscribing. It's the single best way to tell me you enjoy the content here. Let me know down below what other must-have Platinum trophies I may have missed. Until next time, keep hunting, trophy hunters.